Hi guys, it's Casey here from My Heart Cakes, and I'm going to show you how to cover a 6-inch round cake in fondant. Some people can find this a little bit tricky, but I'll work through it with you guys and just show you some of my little tricks of the trade, and yeah, we'll go from there. So to start off with, fondant. I've already kneaded this. I need a light blue because we're doing bluey from the ABC, a bluey cake, and I mixed the white bakels with a little bit of the blue satin ice fondant to get this nice sky blue, because the background's going to be the sky. I'll show you the end cake when I'm finished. So I have all of my tools in the ready. This is a 6-inch round cake. I've also already put some syrup over it. You can see we do not want it too runny and slippery and sloppy. We want it to be just a fine coating so the fondant sticks. Okay, so let's do this. So we'll get our fondant. I'll just knead it one more time. It's really nice and soft. You can sort of feel the fluffiness in it. But it is pretty warm here today, so it's really easy to work with. Okay, so start off with, we just pat it out a little bit. Let's put the video down a little bit, there you go. We just pat it out a little bit and try and make it so we have it about the shape of the cake. Smooth it out with your hand. Just get it into a bit of a larger disc. Okay, now put a little bit of our corn flour, just a little bit, don't want too much. Get our rolling pin. This is my favorite kind. And then get our bag duster just on the top, because we don't want too much of this corn flour. It will make little ridges in the fondant. And then we start rolling. Roll, turn. Roll, turn. And keep doing this until you get your preferred thickness and size. Roll and turn. We want to work quite fast here. Make sure that you have no distractions, because we don't want our fondant to dry out. And if it dries out, it's going to crack when you put it on the cake, and you're going to get the elephant skin and that sort of thing. This might seem quite big compared to the cake, but to get a really nice finish on the smaller cakes, we like to have a fair bit of overlap to work with. Now, we get our pins. I can see a few bubbles in this. Get them. There'll probably be some more once we put it on the cake, but let's try and get rid of as many as we can before we get it on the cake. Still moving quite fast. And then I get my smoother, which we haven't got any leftover fondant from another time, which I do. Just wipe that off. I just like to do this. It gets rid of some of the bubbles. Also just, you can, for me, like I've been doing it for so long, I can sort of feel an even thickness. Okay. Now I'll bring it over. I like to put my cake on some parchment paper. That's what I use to turn it as I go. Okay, still working quite quickly because you don't want it to dry out. Roll the fondant up, bring your cake over. Now, we want to make sure we're going to have even amount on all sides of the cake. Now, the first thing to do is make sure the top is stuck down. And then we move to the edges here. Make sure that that's all nice and secure. Otherwise, you'll start to see tears in here. And then from there, we will start working it down. Now, you have all these pleats here. So very slowly, we're going to move around. The fondant will kind of like come together. Make sure this is very secure. Easy does it. No rushing. Sort of pull it out, push it down. Pull it out, push it down. Keep doing that all the way around. I had rings on before, I took them off. You don't want any rings on. It'll make indents in the fondant. Just notice a little bit of a crease there. Going to get rid of that. Keep going around. Make sure your paper's not getting stuck up in the fondant. Just checking on my dog outside, make sure he's still there, he hasn't run away. He's my co-worker. Okay, now we've got, as you can see there, we've got a little bit of a crease happening. Really focus on that part there. We'll come back to it after we cut it off and stuff and make sure that we can get rid of that. I'll show you how. Okay. Just use your hand. So I am looking at the video just to make sure that you can see what I'm doing. Okay, you don't want to work it too much either because we've got that the white chocolate ganache underneath. Don't want to heat it up too much. Okay, next, still got a little bit of fondant from the last time on there. Make sure that's all the way off. Use a little bit of paper towel. Okay, so now I go around with my smoother. Just really push it into that bottom. Make sure it's all connected to the cake down the bottom. Go around a few times. I'm not doing a sharp edge on this. For kids' cakes, all the time I do it rounded. Sometimes for weddings as well, if that's the style. But a lot of times with wedding cakes, I make it sharp, which I'll show you on another cake another time, but because it's the sky and it's meant to be a little bit fun, I like that rounded edges on the kids' cakes. Now, I love these. I don't know what the brand is. It came in a little pack like that, which I still have. Cake Sharpies, they're called. You see that? I love them. They're great for doing your sharp edges too, which I pull them together like this. That will get your sharp edge, but not in this cake. And now, using it like that, keep my hand nice and smooth to the cake, and we go around. Actually, before we do that, just so if this extra fondant gets caught on the bench and it starts to pull, we'll pull the fondant away from the cake again. So I just roughly cut off the excess. Some people do this with a pizza cutter. I've tried lots of different things. This is my favourite. We have all this extra. This can be kneaded together again. Put back in the bucket. Wrap it up in some snap wrap and use that for another cake or for your smaller fondant decorations mixed with some, I always forget how you say it. What's this? Tylose powder. That's what I mix with my fondant to make it a little bit harder for the figurines and other decorations. So I'll put that to the side. Definitely use that again. Okay, still working quite quickly because we don't want it to go hard yet. Actually, I use it up this way. These are different. I like using that more rounded bit while I'm doing this part. Go all the way around and you can sort of see where it's sort of like leaving a little bit of a line there, so it's really getting it in close to the cake. Making sure, having a look down at the cake and making sure that I've got that line all the way along. I'll show you a little bit closer. Can you see that line there? Okay. Get our sharp knife, make sure it's all clean, you haven't got anything left over from another decoration or something. And now I have the knife. You can see that really close to the top of the cake because you don't want it at the angle, so you're going to cut into the bottom. You want it to be quite sort of up and down. And turn. You don't want it on that angle, you don't want it at that angle, you just want it standing pretty much at the right angle. Keep turning until you have it all cut off. Add that bit to the fondant that you already have in the glad wrap. Don't let it sit out because it will go dry and it'll be really hard to work in again. Now just go around with this smoother. Get into that bottom edge. Now, I love doing these videos because I've had no classes at all. I haven't done any classes. I'm a trained pastry chef, but as a pastry chef, you don't do this sort of stuff. Gâteaux, dessert buffets, dessert bars at the hotel for dinner and that sort of thing, plated desserts, not cakes. And if we did have any cakes, which weren't normally fondant or anything, they were always done by the head chef because that was their special job, doing chocolate and stuff like that. So all of this that I am now showing you, I have learned from other people on YouTube, trial and error. I never used to be this good. I don't think that I'm still amazing or anything, but I'm much better than what I used to be. And having my new kitchen and that sort of thing, and being able to work in close with this air conditioner and have it on a dry setting makes it so much easier. And no distractions. Make sure when you're doing a fondant you have no distractions. Make sure it's when the kids aren't there. Make it sure you've turned your phone off or don't answer it. Let me just go around so I can see a few sort of dents there and stuff. Go around with your hand. Now, I do have a little bit of the crease there, which I'm just pushing together in circular motions. I'm going to work it with my hand. and gone. Some people make up like a putty kind of thing that they make out of their fondant and fill in gaps and that sort of thing. I tried to do that a long time ago, but it did not work for me. Another bit of a crease there, just work it. Trial and error, trial and error. Okay. Now, if I had done this with the humidity that's around today, it would have been a disaster.